and we are subjects. And the son of the president plays it right because he's not shy to go on social media and say, well, I cannot wait for the ladies. For clarity, I would request some of you, and I think I'm promoting you, please go and follow Mohozi and Yusaba on Twitter. That will help us, to speak less, because he helps us. He puts everything, and whatever he tweets, we believe it is in many ways the dinner table talk. Now, talking about trans-border repression, transnational repression. In the yesteryears, when people were struggling for freedom and for democracy, particularly in Uganda, they would run to Kenya, they would run to Tanzania. But when I was running out of my country, I could not board a plane in Kenya. I could not board a plane in Tanzania. I had to run as far as 3-4 countries away, because General Museveni is more like the godfather of the region. Dr. Kiza Besigye, the guy who mentored us, and a veteran freedom fighter and political activist and opposition leader, was picked from Kenya. He was abducted from Kenya by the Ugandan security. He was driven across the border in a car trunk and only showed up in Uganda in a military court. This has happened many times. My sister Agatha is here. My brother from Kenya, Boniface Mangi, faced the same plight when they went to stand with our brother Teburisu in Tanzania. This goes on and on and on and on. What I feel is causing this is the inaction and perceived complacency by those that are supposed to be moral big brothers. Kenya used to be safe. Tanzania used to be safe. I want to believe that because the leaders there seemed to expect repercussions when they abuse rights. But General Museveni in Uganda has emboldened all other leaders to abuse rights with impunity because they see him get away with it. This is a guy that has been in power for 40 years. This is a guy that massacres citizens with reckless abandon. This is a guy who has a son that will threaten even other countries. When he threatened to invade Kenya and capture its capital in 1 week, the father, who is the president of Uganda, came out and publicly apologized to Kenya. But the following day, promoted the son. When the son tweeted an image of a tortured political activist, the following day, he was made the commander of the military in Uganda. So, impunity, injustice, and gross human rights violation and crime is rewarded in Uganda, and Uganda gets away with it. I want you to imagine a situation where the Chief of Defense Forces tweets having killed 24 political opponents and tweets that he orders his military publicly to look for the presidential candidate that is challenging his father and bring his testicles. I apologize for my crude language, but he tweeted and ordered that my testicles should be delivered to him. Interestingly, the following day, he was standing shoulder to shoulder with diplomats, having dinner with ambassadors of democracies. So this, in many ways, is a slap in the faces of those that talk about human rights, that talk about democracy. And it speaks to the silent acceptance of this. So I want to say this, that maybe this impunity wouldn't be happening. Maybe this dictatorship wouldn't be accepted. And maybe these authoritarian leaders would not be behaving like this. But because their actions are seemingly acceptable by the inaction and by the blind eye that is given to them, then it keeps growing. Now, abductions are the order of the day in Tanzania, they're the order of the day in Kenya. Don't be shocked when they are the order of the day in other countries. I could have gone on and on and on and on, but maybe I'll stop here. And I like to make my conversations interactive. I apologize, I'm still healing from that recent trauma. I tend to pinch myself to make sure I wake up from the ordeal and confirm that I'm surely out of Uganda because I had to escape from my own country. Many of my friends that are perceived and thought have helped me, some of them, I'm told, have been shot and killed. When I was nominated to run for president, the Electoral Commission gave me 16 police officers to man my security, like they did with all other presidential candidates. Interestingly, after my exit from the country, all of them were rounded up and detained. I'm told that 9 of them were dismissed from the police with disgrace. They are being accused of aiding me in the country, while others are still in detention. So much has gone on. Many political activists are still detained. Many of our comrades are still detained. That idea that they are suggesting to have negotiations with the government to allow me to return to my country and to allow the political party I lead to be recognized as a legitimate political party. So I wonder what they nominated to run for president. I could go, like I said, I could go on and on and on, but maybe I'll take the question. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I thank you, fellow panelists. Thank you very much.
Hey, day.
So, thank you. We're now going to open the questions to the audience. We are at time, so people have to leave at 7, we completely understand. But also, if you are willing and able to stay for the Q&A round, you're more than welcome to do so. What I would ask is that
Okwogera
because if you are in the crowd, the panelists online can unfortunately not see you unless you are online. So I have a handheld one right here, and so I will be pulling it over there, and then our panelists will answer questions. So if you have anything to ask, please come and stand up there and we can listen.
Bino nabyo bintamye n'okumpuuninga bino. Ani abuuza. Yogera nnyo naawe.
I did a research project on Ugandan democracy, so I followed Mr. Lyon's campaign very closely.
Kimukwasiza ekitabo nga tayogera nnyo.
So my question is about moving forward, how would you like the international community's policies and actions to emphasize this emphasis of human rights?
Ono omuwala atusaze bannange. Ayambadde bulungi n'etavaamu ddoboozi.
I know you've made public calls for sanctions from the United States as well as what else would you given the fact that they seem to be
Ani akulolera mu muzinda.
after the professional human rights atrocities?
Ono omuwala oba talidde kyamisa.
We can go ahead and would you prefer that we just ask all the questions at once and then answer them? Yeah, okay.
Hello, my name is Owen. My question is a general question. How does civil society get back on track when it's being attacked? And it seems that it doesn't have much of a chance to recover when these working leaders are attacking it. It's very important to the democracy, and so I'm curious how we see it staying in shape and recovering and protect.
Musajja mukazi.
John Lema, and My question is just to two panelists. I already shared that with Professor Elizabeth about human rights. So I need to know from them because from all that has been happening in Uganda, none of them came out and stood with Ugandan, pronounced it, all the atrocities that happened. When we say we are standing for Ugandans, and we heard from their talk right now, it's not about Uganda. Just like the president said, it's about Kenya, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. But right now, it's about Uganda. And that's the reason we're here. But they haven't mentioned anything concrete about Uganda. Do they stand for that? Or they have their agendas? Because human rights is supposed to be standing. Because what I told Professor Elizabeth, our own chairperson came out and said it's above my right. Because I can't so I'm not going to speak. The only person I know that spoke about human rights in Uganda, and I know the president knows, he was called Tom Buruku the late. He used to live actually right next to you, the water flags, the white flags. So he came out and told the president, I am not going to stand with you. So I'm asking all these representatives, what are they doing? Because all they do is pretense. We are tired of pretense. So I will need to listen to what they say.
My name is Christine Mutale. I'm here to start from Uganda. When I was young, we
naye ani akololakolola bannange ne mwana abantu abali ku mukolo baleka tebaalidde lanki bona boogera nga abatalina maanyi. Sirika sijja kusirika naabwe.
Our people are being killed. Please. It's actually every day. Up to today, as he said, nobody talks about how people who have been killed in Uganda. Nothing. They have allowed 117 to play game on all heads of state in the world. These people have sanctions won't help, even during Amini's time. They did it. They have their money. In fact, they have allowed Chinese to give Uganda quick money than through World Bank and IMF. We have been there with some other people here complaining. There's nothing that been done. But this time, don't allow that man a game on you. He has made the whole world to be useless. Sorry to say so.
Mubitegedde munsirisizza.
Okay, yes. Hi, my name is Janelle Jim. I'm a senior here in Elliot School of International Affairs. For my question, the one common thread that I noticed among all the speakers today was the concern of securitization of media within the region, and the securitization of media being used as a justification for digital authoritarianism. As Mr. Wine mentioned earlier, the use of media to almost put out warrants out for people through, Twitter, other forms of social media, and also media suppression as well. So, and how this framing of the media right now is being framed for countries outside of, after viewing a lot of the concerns that you have all brought up right now as being for security purposes, it's not being human rights violations. So my question is going forward, how can this framing be reversed so that we can see so that we can see, the global community come and stand up against the securitization and these human rights abuses. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mary Abdul. I'm an advocate from South Sudan. I have a couple of questions to people that are asking one way. The first one should be like, how do you envision the upcoming election should look like in Uganda and Africa as you are someone who went through these challenges? And then secondly, most of the time they use the young people, the message that you want to send to them, especially Ugandan youth when we work together. I think most of the African youth, they get used to work with different sort of youth with talent, and they have a lot of talent. So how do they break this barrier? And I wanted to go further than that also the role of the diaspora. How does the diaspora help in these transformations of democracy in Uganda? And also my last point, like you went through all these challenges, what gives you hope? Thank you.
I love the last part of the beginning. That's a very positive point. Go ahead.
All right, my name is God Bless. My question is directed to Bobi. So I've heard about you before today, and someone spoke to me while you were coming. And I was asked a question. I said, I really don't know much about you other than the fact that you're in a struggle. But, Mr. Bobi, what is your political, economic ideology? Say you become president in Uganda today. What will change? What sort of economy will you build for Ugandans that would, bring prosperity beyond what is currently happening? Because I can tell you this, that as much as many diasporans want to support people like you and the international community that you rightly call out, if they cannot see their interest in your ideology, both economically, it is going to be difficult to really back you all the way. So, are you a capitalist? Are you a socialist? What are you, beyond the fact that you want political power? I think a lot of us in the diaspora, we've gone past the let's just struggle for power, but what are we going to do so that we are not just repeating the same mistakes like those who just wanted power, like the people you're talking about?
Thank you so much for having us here today.
Yeah, I think also these two gentlemen were going to count the questions for now because we have quite a list. So go ahead.
My name is Daniel Kauma from Uganda, and my question is going to our former State Department experts, and just to borrow your experience. I think we are noticing that foreign policy is changing across the world. It's becoming very transactional. And that puts oppositions like ours in Uganda at a disadvantage when current regimes can get away with atrocities. If I can offer you minerals, if I can offer you access to oil, if you can accept admitting deported migrants, and so forth and so forth. So I think the challenge is how do we work around the current system? It's not an easy question, where we see foreign policies becoming very commodified and transactional, where if you speak about human rights, few people are listening to you now. They are listening to who is getting them access to resources, minerals. We are seeing it in Venezuela and other countries as well. So how do we work around such a system to advocate for those who are voices? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ross.
Thank you very much. My name is Chizé Peter. I have a question. Who will be the last gentleman who went to pass? Because at this time,
Bamwita Dr. Kauma, Daniel Kauma, diaspora leader. Kitegeera kati ovumya mukulembeze wo.
Please ask your question. I'll give the answer.
Really, that's what makes me start.
Ah. So I'll give the answer.
Professor Elliot was talking about people that alleged have been tortured in Tanzania, and I am here. I am one of them. So I just came so that people see we did not allege. I still live that. My feet have never healed because of the torture. And we filed a case in the East African Court of Justice. We filed the case everywhere. And the international community let us down. You know, good for me is I do not expect so much in the international community. I expect so much in the people of Uganda. So I don't have a sense of entitlement. All the international community help us. I just also hope that you stop pretending that you are able to help when there's no help. And I'm sorry for saying you. I'm not meaning people here, but I'm saying that that's how the international community looks like. If what we said about Tanzania had been taken into consideration, because we came out after the torture, after being threatened that if we speak we will be killed, and we said we're going to speak so that it stops with us. That's what we at least expected at the very least. If that had been considered, 10,000 people would have been massacred in Tanzania. Yeah. And it was. So I am here so that you see that I am the one leading that right now, and I am still leading it.
Very, very basic questions if you want to go ahead and start answering.
Sure, thank you very much. The first question was, what would we want the international community to do? And I'm very glad my sister Agatha answered it. We are not asking you to come and save us. We are asking you to stop funding our operation. It is the American taxpayer that gives Museveni those millions of dollars. We are willing, and indeed we are trying to fight against oppression, but we cannot fight against $1 billion every year. We cannot fight against the French guns, against the tear gas that comes from the Europe and all that, you know. We want to free ourselves, but we are fighting against a power that is behind a dictator. In the late 80s, it is until the United States denounced the apartheid government that apartheid failed. Otherwise, even Nelson Mandela was declared a terrorist by Margaret Thatcher. So, the dictators in Africa would not be surviving if they are not being supported by the West. Idi Amin was supported by the West until the West got his hands off him. The same was with Gaddafi and others. So we are asking the international community to stop, first, three things: stop funding the oppressors. Or at least, if you are to have cooperation with African countries, particularly with Uganda, at least put conditions on that aid. Conditions like respect for democracy, respect for human rights, and respect for the rule of law. I think that is not too much to ask for. We are always mocked by the propagandists of the dictators back home. Every time we come here, we don't come here to ask for money. When they are being funded by the Western countries, they call it cooperation. When we come to the Western countries to demand that conditions are put on that aid, they call us Western puppets. So we are asking they should stop funding our operation, and they should use their moral tools that they have. Tools like sanctions, tools like the global Magnitsky, and also to disassociate. I've not seen an American president standing shoulder to shoulder with the European dictator Lukashenko. What Museveni does in Uganda, if it was a European president that does it to European people, I am sure that leader would not be in power the following week. Then why is the standard of human rights in Africa put at a lower standard? For lack of a better word, that is racism. Yeah. So let the standard of democracy in Africa, let the standard of democracy, the standard of human rights in Africa be measured at the same standard with Europe. Somebody asked me, how can civil society be enabled to function? I wish my sister Agatha would help me answer that, because she's more vast in that area. Maybe at the end, I will humbly request her to help me answer that question. And how can the media be framed better to focus on human rights service? That's a very good question. The media, in many ways, and I'll talk in the case of Uganda, the media is owned. Almost all radio stations are owned by either a minister or an army general or somebody well positioned. And even those that are not owned are intimidated. We have a radio called the Central Broadcasting Service. It is owned by my kingdom. But I cannot be posted on that radio because Museveni threatened them. In 2009, he took away their license, and they spent more than 15 years operating without a license. So that means that even those radio stations and TV stations are controlled and governed and intimidated. Thanks to the generation that we live in, we have social media. And it is social media that is helping us. No wonder Facebook is now banned in Uganda. Under the hate of Facebook, you know, in Uganda, like nowhere in the world, they introduced social media tax. Have you heard about social media tax? Well, it was introduced in Uganda. So we survive on the internet. We, for lack of a better word, smuggle the truth out of Uganda using social media. And because it's a creative generation, we tend to, you know, find other creative ways. How can youth play a better role? Get involved. Fold your sleeves and get involved. This that we are doing for the generation to come, because we don't know how long we're going to live. We have seen anybody, especially in Uganda, who tries to stand up to a dictator ends up either in exile or in prison or dead. But we do it nevertheless, because we know that what we do inspires others. Take out one, others rise. You take out basically Bobi Wine rises. You send Bobi Wine to exile, others rise. So think a leaf, young people, and do what you have to do. After all, it is your future. I mean, yesterday I was a young man. Now I'm 44. I was a baby when Museveni came. I was 4 years. Now I'm almost a grandfather. So it is the youth that own the future. And to those in the diaspora, you have nothing like an excuse. You are safe. And all nations that have been liberated, their diasporas have played a very, very fundamental role. So get involved. Again, the same young man asked, what gives you hope? What gives me hope? History. History teaches us, yes, the young lady. Thank you from Sudan. History teaches us that oppressed people have never and can never be oppressed forever. Hitler was powerful, but he fell. Stalin was powerful, but he fell. Museveni is powerful, but he will fall. So that alone keeps us going, knowing that history is on our side, knowing that what we are doing is right. The fact that we have been arrested many times, Dr. Kizza Besigye, I think he's the most arrested person that I know, but he has never been convicted because the law is on his side. The law is on our side. And those of us who believe in God, we know God is on our side. And when God is on your side, my friend, nothing can stop you. So that alone gives us hope and keeps us going and going. Now there's some intellectual young man who asks,
sharing live bwe si
ideology. I think to me it sounded so elitist, maybe because I'm not so educated. But again, our mentor, Dr. University, has mentioned it many times, that the intellectuals are the problem of our generation. I'm a freedom fighter, I just want to be free to choose. It is like asking a slave, what do you want to do with your freedom? Do you want to use it to go to New York? Or to go to, I just want to be free. I want to be free to choose. Now what if I'm a capitalist? Does that mean I don't deserve freedom? What if I'm a socialist? Does that mean I'm not supposed to get freedom? I thought freedom is the right to choose among options. As of now, we want the freedom to be citizens in our country. We want the freedom to have a vote. We don't have a vote in Uganda. We want the right to choose whether to be capitalist or socialist or none of the above. We don't have to explain, I don't have to explain to you whether I'm socialist or capitalist in order to be allowed to be free. So all we want is to be free. Yeah, I think that was all. May I ask my sister Agatha to please answer the question of civil society, because she's the expert on that. Thank you.
Before you start this, Agatha, I'm just going to say that because we were about half an hour over time, we're going to stop it at 7:30. So
it's just a simple question. I think it was about civil society, what it should handle. Civil society in Uganda is not allowed to do anything. 2 months ago, in January, 10 civil society organizations, including the one I work with, were suspended by the government because they did not want us to document anything regarding the elections, not the violations, nothing. That was followed by the people.
Okay, keep record straight. She said this was shot 8 times, 16 times. Can I ask to put the record straight? To do this, she said to do this was shot 8 times. It was 16 times.
I mean, basically, Uganda has been shrinking very gradually in the last 6 years, especially financially. They started by sending out the Democratic Governance Fund, the European Fund that was funding civil society in Uganda, and I think that was in 2021, because President Museveni, anyone that writes the law that the government is doing is viewed as subversive, so they told the DG was funding and just recently, everyone that was funding civil society organizations that are political, especially those in the civil liberty space, was threatened by President Museveni's son with deportation. In fact, two diplomats were deported in the run-up to the election. One, a German from GIZ, another from GW. So that's what it has been. It's worse now. When they speak about President Museveni's I don't think Mr. Wine, like you guys call him, I don't think he explained enough that he's the one in charge. He's the one calling the shots now. So what happened was, I think some of the atrocities that Bobi mentioned here didn't include the atrocities out of Uganda. There's a UN report about the atrocities of the UPD, the Ugandan army in South Sudan. In DRC, they were forced, I think, to go out. So that's what's happening. And when it comes to us that are operating within that context, you will just remain with a few that they don't blame those that have said, this is not worth it. I almost died in Tanzania and I spent 3 months or 4 wondering if it is worth it, struggling to continue with this fight, wondering if it's worth to leave my children there because no one is helping, not our governments, not neighbors, not the international community or the international world order. We have the UN, we have ICC, we have everything, but it's not coming to us. So I understand why some civil society organizations right now as I speak are trying to negotiate with the government to get them to reopen. And so that means that they will do whatever the government wants them to do or whatever the government doesn't want them to do. I think summarily that's all I can say. Thank you.
say we're going to take the last question that was addressed to you both, and you can go ahead and answer that. And then after this, we're going to call it because we have reached our 7:30, so you can go ahead and answer the question.
Thank you, and I really want to say for Ms. Agatha, who just spoke, I had not recognized you in the audience, but your story is incredibly profound, and your courage is so notable. And when we speak about things like what is the media doing, I would encourage people to look at BBC's documentary of her experience, her incredibly powerful testimony. Really, it's a great honor to have you here tonight. Appreciate everything you've done to speak out. And when I think about what do we do in the face of transactional situations, first let me clarify, I don't work for the U.S. government anymore, and so this is official. But I think this is not the first time that we have seen surges in policy that have been focused on transactional issues. And it makes the documentation and discussion that much more important. Over time, you can see that there are threads that we recognize because they've been saved, because people's experiences have been documented. So the courage that you showed to speak with BBC, the courage in your documentary with National Geographic, I think this documentation effort is tremendously important. I think speaking up more broadly on social media is also very important, and I take Devin's point that we have to think about how do we capture what's happening in social media, which can disappear so very quickly, so that we have a record to build upon for the future. That brings me a bit to what gives me hope. I am so inspired by your work. Your work gives me hope because I can imagine the pressure to be quiet. I cannot imagine the pressure to be quiet. So your willingness to be here, to share your stories, to help all of the rest of the world remember the dignity and humanity of every person, the right of every person to contribute to their government, to have an accountable government, to be respected in their humanness. I really take inspiration from you. So thank you.
All right, before people start questioning, I want to thank all of our panelists and our guest speakers for coming, for sharing their insights, all of their perspective, and telling us a little bit about their personal experiences in the case of this wine, as well as their perspective on various really salient issues. So again, a big thank you and a big round of applause for everybody. Thank you very much.
Audio. Kikulu aboogera nabo tebalina maanyi. Abawala abo abobuuziza abo balya mmere ki? Sigeza kugiwa mwana wange. What happened? Ewedde. Live tugimaliriza. Ale muze kusulawo.
Naye papa oli otya?
Mama, ngangezze bulala.
Naye ogamba otasema.
Ate mulina kye mubanja kati bannange? Mulina kye mubanja?
Tulina kye tubanja era buli kimu tukiwulidde bulungi.
Ewedde. Nyabula.